welcome back to Shape Out Adventures. My name is Tammy. Today we're going to be going over culture shocks working as an immigrant nurse in the United States of America. This one is not going to be like information blasted at you guys. For those that have been on my channel for a while, this is going to be a Let's Talk segment. And you can find all the other Let's Talk statements like videos like on my playlist on my channel and at the end of this video. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'm just a baby channel and I'm trying to grow my space. We at 564 subscribers right now. How good would it be to get to 1,000 subscribers before my birthday? I ain't giving y'all much time because my birthday in August, but make it do what it do. Like, share, comment, and subscribe and share this video and see what we can do for my birthday. That would be like a really good happy birthday gift to me. Okay? Okay, thank you. Let's move on. So, what are we going to talk about in this video? Let me just say it out loud. Oh, something in my eye. Let me just say it out loud so that I don't forget. We're going to be talking about 12-hour shifts, epic computer charting, rounding, low census, on-call pay, call-in pay, and I think those are pretty much like the biggest stuff. If I remember something, I'll probably just throw it in there at the end. But I think those were like my biggest things. Yeah. So let's start with rounding. For those that follow me on my TikTok, I already went over like 3D stuff very briefly, but I decided to do a longer YouTube video. So rounding. At my hospital, every day at 9 o'clock, we do walking rounds, like multiple with multiple disciplines. So we have the doctor, the nurse, the pharmacist, the admission and discharge nurse, our charge nurse, the case manager, and sometimes like students, they tag along and we do I tried again, y'all. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And we round. This is like a big shock for me because we don't really do multiple I could stop. We don't really do those rounds. Like back home, we just do like doctor patient, not doctor patient. What the frig? We do. I'm not stopping this video. We do nurse, doctor, and then you include the patient on like the decision making process or whatever. So to see like such a big grouping like this, like walking together to make sure the patient sees the doctor at least one time in the morning, and then our doctors come back later on, like rounding just with themselves, and then you could go inside the room, and that's more of the round that I'm used to. You and the doctor just in the curtain space or like in the room talking to the patient. But first thing in the morning at 9 o'clock, every patient meets their doctor. If they have any general questions, just to ask their case manager, or maybe just to let us know, hey, could the case manager come back? Or, hey, I'm not on this medication. It usually interacts like this. And then you could ask the pharmacist. Like, everybody is right there at your fingertips to get those general questions out of the way. And I feel like it makes for a smoother work day. It makes you and the patient and everybody else know what the goals are, and it helps you to like have a pathway going on for those goals instead of you always having to read the notes. The patient knows what's going on, so they shouldn't be surprised when either they don't go home that day or like discharge is like pushed back because of medication or something along those lines. But yeah, culture shock in terms of rounding was like one of my bigger culture shocks that I saw. Next, we're gonna move on to 12-hour shifts. Yeah, I don't have to think on this video. Sorry, my mind is all over the place. And I don't have to start this video over because of the multidisciplinary thing, because it's a less talk, so I can make mistakes. Anyway, so moving on, we're talking about rounding. I mean, not rounding, hours. 12 hours, y'all. 12 hours. I didn't even really 12 hours. They're like, yeah, you go to the States, you work 7 to 7, it's fine. My hospital, we do 7 to 7. Some hospitals a little different. Most hospitals do the 7 to 7 over here. I have a friend, I think she works like 10 to 10. That's what their hospitals do. But most do the 7 to 7. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So at my hospital, even though it's 7 to 7, it's really 6:45 to 7:15. So there is a little bit more minutes added on there. So really it's like a 12-hour, 30-minute shift. And they do those times for like handover purposes, for you to hand over to the oncoming nurse or hand over to the outgoing, to get a report from the outgoing nurse, however you want to say it. 12 hours is a lot. I came from like an 8-hour system where you work 5 days out of the week to get your 40-hour work week. 12 hours is 36 hours to get your 36-hour work week, and that is considered full time. So we're moving from where full time was 40 hours back home to 36 hours here, but instead of working a minimum of 5 days a week back home, you work a minimum of 3 days a week here. Do I like it? Do I love it? I like it and I don't like it. I feel like I hated it more when I first got here, and now it's starting to like I'm starting to get used to it a little bit more like now. But yeah, like when you first get here, I think it's just the shock of just 12 hours, babe. Like you have to get up 5 something, like I have to get up 5:20. I usually am at work by like 6:30, getting a report and finishing off, getting a report from my the off-going nurse by like 6:50, 6:55. So I'm on the floor by 7, so I could be off the floor by 6:45, so I could start charting by at least 8 o'clock, because as we're gonna move on the next one, it's gonna be epic charting. But charting is like, if you, anyway. So how am I feeling with that? Now, like I said earlier, I'm feeling a little bit better. I feel like I'm getting a hang of it. Like it doesn't hurt me as much. It's just like, but it's 12 hours. Like you don't notice, like you get tired in your 8-hour shift, but I feel like at the end of 12 hours, it's really just like a lot. Like it really is a lot. But the more you work it, the more it's like, oh, okay, like it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You still get tired like around 3, 4 o'clock ish. I'm like, I need to go home. Like I need to go home. I get tired. I don't need to be doing this no more. I'm tired. But after that, like after the first 6 to 7 months, I would say like you don't feel it as much. It's like, oh, okay, well it's 3 o'clock. We got like 3 more hours. I can make 3 more hours, and that's how it starts to feel like I got 3 more hours. I could do 3 more hours after a certain period of time. At this point, I've been working in the U.S. for almost a year now. Next month will make me 1 year working in the U.S. And it has taken me just about that long to get used to those 12-hour shifts, like fully used to it. But yeah, that 12 hours, it smacks you, but being on 4 days out of the week is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I would not go back to 8 hours, honestly. What's it called? Like when your life, quality of life? Quality of life. My quality of life has gotten better. It's another like statement, like where it's like, anyway, we'll go quality of life. If it's something else, leave it in the comments. But I feel like that's not what I'm trying to say, but that is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, moving on. Also, we're gonna move on to epic computer charting. As I alluded to before, you need to have a plan B. Like when you get over here, you need to start charting by 8 o'clock. Usually at my hospital, our absolute max is 6 patients. Sometimes we start with 4, sometimes we start with 5, but the absolute amount of patients we can get is 6. So my goal is to be on the floor by 7 o'clock and do full assessments on all of my patients so that I could be at my computer by 8 to start my assessment. To start charting my assessment. So the first part of my assessments I do while I'm in my patient room, like ask them about pain, ask them if they need anything, look at like the specific problem, and then do my full body assessment. And then we try to do that, like get like our key points in while we're in our patient room. And then you epic charting is set up in a way where it's like care and safety, vitals, like in terms of if you're patient on oxygen, if you're patient in any pain. Then you do like actual physical assessment, which is all of the systems that you have to complete for that day. Like you have to go through all of the systems, neurological straight to integumentary. So you have to do all of that. Then you have to do IV assessment. Does the IV flush? Does it work? And then you have to go through physical assessment, or to set that apart, and then you have to do cares and safety. Does your patient walk? How do they walk? Do they walk well? XYZ. And then you have to do education, and you have to do care plan, and you have to do that on all your patients. For me, preferably before 9 o'clock. Like I said earlier, we do rounds at 9 o'clock, which means by 9 o'clock, you need to, if your doctor be like, oh, is the patient still on 2 liters? you're supposed to know if your patient on 2 liters. So you have to do, I try to do all of this before 9 so that I could read through my patient notes, see what's going on. And that's why I usually try to be to work by 6:30. Even though like you have to be there for 6:45, I try to be there by 6:30. So timing is very important, very crucial, especially before 12 noon. I feel like once you caught up with your chart and everything by 12 noon, you will have an okay day, minimum an okay day. Like, crap could go wrong. Like my idea say, crap happens even on a Sunday, but it is your job to set up your day in a way to where crap is not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to affect you as much if you are caught up with your charting. So I try to have all of my stuff charted, all of my labs looked at by 9 o'clock. And sometimes I mean, like, obviously, like, it's not a foolproof system. Like back home, you literally only had to write like in a column, and then you just write as the day goes on. But like you only had like that one column, so it was like, oh, okay, right. Patient went to procedure 12:33. Patients out of blood at this time and blood like, but it's like one column. That's your column. That's the entire assessment and stuff that you just have to like flip through the notes to do the other little stuff. But for this one, it's just so much charting to where it's like you have to be on top of it. I feel like, yeah, computer charting is amazing. Like a lot of stuff at your fingertips. I feel like I say it like a lot, but a lot of stuff at your fingertips, and it's beautiful. Like it's a great thing, but it's also like, why I keep saying the word? Anyway, it's all. Anyway, yeah, just focus on time. I feel like that was like my biggest thing. Like back home, you just do a general assessment on your patient, you put it in on like the regular care plan, and then you just write it out because it was no charting, and then you just continue as like your day go on or whatever. But here it's like you have to charge so much to where you have to be on top of the chart, and I feel like that's a culture shock, like just having to charge so much. And maybe I put like the pressure on myself because some nurses, they don't chart everything at the beginning of their shift. They just chart as the day goes on. Like 3 o'clock, they'd be finishing up all that stuff. But to me, I just feel a little flustered, especially like if crap happens, and then it's something in my chart that I end up forgetting about because I'm dealing with stuff that's happening at work. So charting. So we went over charting. We went over 12-hour shifts. We went through rounding, low census, on call base. So at my hospital, I work at a baby hospital. My hospital takes less than 100 people in North Carolina. We are part of a greater hospital system, and I'm at one of the smaller hospitals in the hospital system. So my hospital takes, I think we're supposed to be able to take 99 people, including emergency room, ICU, med-surg. I work on the med-surg floor. If we do have less people than we can take on my floor and other units do not need you, you are sent home due to low census. So as an example, like let's say usually we have like 8 nurses on the schedule. One nurse is charged. Charge usually doesn't take patients. Then we have 7 nurses on the floor, which is 7 nurses that could be divided by the amount of patients. So if say we have like 5 patients on the floor. I mean, yeah, not that's ridiculous. So we have like 10 patients, right? Very unlikely to happen, but what if it does? So if we have 10 patients, you don't need 7 nurses for 10 patients. So they have like this algorithm type thing that determines how many nurses you need for that day. If they don't need 2 nurses, then 2 nurses are sent home if you were already there. Like, let's say you started with 30, but 15 people got discharged, so you were left with 15. One nurse can go home because it's low census. You don't need all of those nurses, and hospital tries to save money. So you can be sent home because of low census that happened in the middle of the day, or you could just be put on call because of low census that happened overnight, or just it's been like reoccurring. So I feel like I jumped just now. To explain myself, let's say we had 10 patients on the floor and you have 7 nurses. I said earlier in the video that we kept max absolutely out at 6. So if you have 10 patients, technically I think they probably would only keep 3 nurses out of the 7, because 3, 6, 9, and then 1. Yeah. So every nurse, pretty much all the nurses would have 3, and then one would have like 4, and then they'd be good for the rest of the day. So based on the algorithm that the charge nurse sees and that your manager would give you, you know how much nurses could stay and how much nurses have to leave. Or when they make it up the assignment, they know how much nurses to put on call. So on call is where right now the census is low. Right now ICU doesn't need you. ER doesn't need you. Nowhere needs you. So we are not gonna bring in an extra nurse and pay her for the entire day just because we can. Because obviously the hospital is a business. They won't. So they let you stay home and then they pay you like $1 an hour or something. And then if they need you, they call you in. If they need you. So the sucky part with that is, what I think a lot of us don't consider is like back home, you are never put on call. Like you always need me. Like you always need a nurse back home. You always short. So over here, it's like put on call. Like what the frick? Like what is that? But it's like, yeah, we don't need you today. You gotta put on call. But if let's say they need you like around 10 a.m., you would be called in, and call in pay is almost like overtime pay. So even if they didn't need you from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., maybe something traumatic happened, we got a lot of admissions, they need to call a nurse in. If they call you in, you get paid more money than what would be a regular base pay that day. That's just how it is. It's almost, and it doesn't matter if they call you in 1 hour into a shift, like you still working 11 hours, you get paid more on that day. So that's like a benefit of calling. So it's like, okay. Negative, I would say, of being put on call is that you miss that shift. Like you miss an entire work day. You miss 12 hours of work, and you only get like $1 an hour for that work. I think it's, mind you, I'm just saying out like numbers, but obviously it depends on your hospital, depends on your contract, depends on all this stuff. But I think for the vast majority, I'm saying $1 so that you could understand, and I think that's what a lot of people, even on contracts and even like regular direct hire people, get paid for put on call. So if you miss a day, you get paid $1 an hour, you get paid $12 for that entire day that you missed. And maybe you can't pick up a shift. So you are literally down hundreds of dollars for a day that you didn't end up working because you were put on call. So just keep that in mind. I have probably been put on call maybe 3 times since I've been working here. And out of those 3 times, I have been called in like once. I mean, put on call 4 times and called in once. Something like that. And I think that's it for this video. Because we did on call, we did low census, we did call in pay, we did rounding, we did epic computer charting. I think that's it. I feel like those are like the biggest shocks that I had, and I've been trying to write them down. And then differentials, but I talk about that on my TikTok and other videos, just where you get paid more extra because you work a weekend or weekday. Get paid like extra $2 or $3 because you work a weekend or weekday or something like that. But that's on my TikTok. Going anyway. One of my friends watched my video and she's like, "You are being very rude on your videos." I was like, "How?" She's like, "You used to be there and you used to be rowing people." And I was like, "I ain't even rowing you. You being dramatic. Like, really dramatic." But that's neither here nor there. Like, comment, share, subscribe. My name is Tammy. Let me stop. Like, comment, share, subscribe. My name is Tammy. This is Shape Out Adventures. I would love to get to 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is in August. And you can help get me there for just a share a day. A share a day to a friend who is not subscribed to my channel will help me to grow in a way of gaining subscribers on a daily basis. All it takes is one share or a like to get my video on a recommended page today. Help me. Help you. And you can follow me on Instagram at Shape Out Adventures, follow me on TikTok at Shape Out Adventures 25, and obviously follow me on YouTube at Shape Out Adventures. If you have a video that you would like to see, leave it down in the comment box below. And I think that's it.